Hello, my name's Elsie Chichi Anakwe. I'm a solicitor and also a parenting coach. In this podcast, I'm going to be sharing tips about preparing our children for the new school term or new school year. And I'm going to be talking about children who are currently in primary school. So they're merely just moving up a class, so to speak. So the preparation that's needed, some tips in preparing them for the new term after the holiday. Obviously, some of them have already started thinking about school. Some may not. Some may not want school to end. But I'm sure some parents are thinking, they don't want the holidays to end. I'm sure some parents are probably looking at the calendar and counting down and saying, please, 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 when's school going to start? Anyway, you still need to prepare. And it's, as we know, planning and preparation are key factors in all we do, because obviously it goes a long way. It avoids pressure. It avoids last minute bits and pieces. It avoids you forgetting things, and basically being you can't go wrong by being ready. So what do you need to do? You need to have a dialogue, communicate with your child or children that are getting ready to go back to school. Speak to them about school. What is it that they're looking forward to school? Ask them questions about school. I'm sure a lot of the times they'll probably talk more about their friends, looking forward to seeing their friends, because in some cases some probably would not have seen their friends during the summer break. And apart from friends, maybe speak to them about what they want to achieve, maybe their goals. This is probably a good time to have a look at their report, reflect on it, not just about their academic progress, but also, their behavior in general. And obviously start off with, the positive points. So look at their end of year report, remind them about what the teacher or head teacher or teachers have said, about their behavior, about their personality, and, praise them again, and just say to them, that they should obviously keep up the good work, and, encourage them. And then if there are areas that they need to work on, speak to them about those areas, and, and perhaps try and develop some kind of a scheme or strategy on how to help them with that. So for instance, if they're struggling with reading, you might decide, okay, we're going to make it a point that we read every night. You read to me. If it's spellings, you make it a point in terms of how often you will help them with their spellings. Homework, reminding them of the need to do their homework. So and also, like I said, it's not just about the academic success, it's also about their behavior in general. We want, at the end of the day, to have a well-rounded child. So remind them about the need to be respectful, the need to be kind to teachers and even their fellow students, their friends as well. The need to always remember all those things that you've taught them, your values, your beliefs, and it's also time for reflection for us parents in terms of, what we do. It's not good enough, telling your child or children you have to be kind, you mustn't say, use bad words. Meanwhile, your children are constantly hearing you swearing or, gossiping about other people. The saying goes, charity begins at home. They learn from us. They emulate, our behavior. The things they see us do, they will copy. So it's for us to also, reflect on our behavior and ensure that we are actually practicing those things that we're preaching to them. So yes, again, so that it's very important. Again, another point that I'd like to raise is in respect of children with special or additional needs. Parents, have a dialogue with them. They're already used to the school. There may have been some incidents or instances in the past, during the past school term, academic year or whatever, when they were unhappy or uncomfortable with something, try and find, I'm sure, if it hasn't been resolved, obviously ensure that it's resolved before school starts. If there are things that they're finding difficult to deal with, obviously ensure that there are support or things in place to, make their time in school comfortable, and for them to be happy. At the end of the day, we want our children to be happy, whether they have special needs or not. So parents, have that dialogue with them. What the best way to communicate with your child. So obviously speak to your child in the appropriate manner, depending on obviously the level of understanding as well. So that's something I wanted to share. Also, setting routines. It's very important as well at this time to set routines for our children. In terms of bedtimes and the times that they wake up, if they're obviously sleeping much later than usual, so you need to now rein in on that. Try and bring the time that they go to bed slightly forward. So if they're going to bed at 10 p.m., you want them to start going to bed at 9 p.m. and gradually, achieving the actual time that you want them to be going to bed during term time. So, that again, it's a gradual process. The same with waking up, get them to have meals at the correct time, so to prepare them in readiness for school. I mean, it's very important. And another thing that's worth sharing is getting their mind ready for school, for learning. So how do you do that? Again, you want to make it fun. So, there's so many ways, that you can do that. Personally, in my home, what we do is when we play games, like Scrabble or cards, we try and get, at the end of each game, we try and get the children to add up the score. So they're doing that, they think, and it's, obviously they're training their mind and they're practicing mental maths, because what they do, we don't let them use pen or pencil, so they have to try and work it out on their head, in their head, sorry. So again, it doesn't matter if they get it wrong. It's just trying to get them used to what they do in school anyway. So you may want to do that. I'm sure you may have other ways of trying to engage your children's brain. It's there's so many tips, so many ways of doing that. Even cooking, whilst you're cooking, you can talk to them about the need to eat healthily, discuss the ingredients that you're using to cook. You can even talk about growing vegetables, where are how are potatoes or carrots grown, why do we need to have doctors say we should have an apple a day or whatever, just things like that, just discussing things like that, just to kind of engage their brains, get them thinking in readiness for school. Again, reading is very good. So they're already in primary school, most of them are probably independent readers, so encouraging them to read. You can ask them questions about what they've read. You can read to them as well. Again, if they need, you can practice their writing, practice, comprehension, just doing things that, in a fun way. And, it doesn't have to, you don't have to have like rigid times or whatever, you can just decide when you want to do it, but it's just, again, gradually, and try and make it fun, because obviously when the fun is removed, they find it a bit difficult, because they're still thinking that they're on holiday. Well, they know that they're on holiday, and they'll probably be saying, oh, why do I have to do this? I'm meant to be on holiday and you're asking me to do that. So that's why we have to kind of be a step ahead and find a way to get them to do the work in a nice way without them complaining. So that's important. Even baking as well, getting them to measure out bits and pieces, ingredients, etc. Again, they'll find that fun, but they're learning as well. So it's very important. Well, that's all I have to say now. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any comments, please let me know. If you need to get in contact with me, you know how to. Thank you again, and it's bye bye from me.